We just rode this 29er. The label on the frame says Birk, but that's just the brand the Norwegian distributor is using. It's actually the BESV TRS 1.1. We rode that bike before, but this is the new model. It's gone from a 27.5 to a 29er bike, and it's got a much longer wheelbase. So compared to the old bike, which was more of a nimble, quicker handling bike, this looks to be something else. So it's got 29er wheels, 160 mil travel front, 150 mil travel back, and it's grey. So is it just another grey 29er bike? Yes, well, no, because actually it's also green and sort of purple. One thing that makes this bike really interesting here in Norway is the price. 56,900 kroners. And yeah, that's really cheap compared to the competition and considering the specs you're getting. The price might not be that great where you live. It seems it's 5,990 euros, so I guess it will vary between markets, so check it out. So, being that this is one of the cheaper bikes available around here today, you wouldn't expect much when it comes to the specs and components, would you? Yeah, we were quite surprised. It's the RockShox Select version of the SEB, the burly 38mm stanchion fork. It really is a nice fork, way better than the RockShox 35 Gold RL that is often found on these bikes. The shock, not equally as impressive, but still a good one, the RockShox Deluxe Select. What is not common at all is the Shimano XT brakes, dual caliper M8120. That's really surprising, and yeah, it's a great brake. And actually most of the group set, the drivetrain, is Shimano XT. The hubs, the shifter, the derailleur, with the exception of the chain, which is a KMC chain, and the Sunrace cassette. It's still a 1051 teeth cassette, but it's an all-steel cassette, which is a good thing, because the XT cassette has got a couple of alloy cogs, and yeah, they will wear down faster. Previously, we have had some issues with the third-party components, mixing them with the Shimano 12-speed drivetrain. The shifting has suffered a bit, but on this bike, shifting works quite well actually. So how about the battery then? With this kind of equipment, good fork, good brakes, drivetrain, it can't possibly have like a big battery. Or, well, yeah, it can. It's a 720 watt-hours Darfun battery. And we really like these third-party batteries for the Shimano system. This battery is 3.8 kilos. That's pretty much the same as the Shimano 630 watt-hours original battery. Motor is the Shimano EP8, one of our favorites. A great motor for technical trails with lots of power that is easy to control. But it's not the most powerful motor when pedaling at just below cutoff speed. The only thing we are not super impressed with is the Maxxis 10-wall tires. Sure, they look different, perhaps you like the looks of them, but it's the cheaper, or it's the harder rubber compound, the 2C as Maxxis calls it. And when riding on the wet on our trails, we really miss a softer rubber compound. And also the sidewalls, this is the EXO casing. And this is a fairly heavy bike, burly fork. Yeah, we would prefer a beefier tire with heavier, thicker sidewalls. The BESV TRS comes in 3 sizes. Ours is the medium, then there's a small and a large. So when it's only 3 sizes, it's no wonder the size medium is perhaps a tad on the bigger side. And BESV actually claims up to 187 centimeters of rider height for the size medium. This bike, with a 465mm chainstay length, that's fairly long. That makes for a long wheelbase. And we think size medium is a good size for us. It makes sense picking a smaller bike when the rear end and the wheelbase gets long. Head angle, 65 degrees. A great figure for this kind of bike. Seat tube angle, 70 degrees. 70. I don't know how they came up with that number. That's super slack, but it could be they are just measuring the top of the seat tube after the kink, because it's fairly slack at the top. So I don't know, 70 doesn't make sense. So with that long rear end, it's no surprise this bike climbs well. We can go up pretty much any hill without having to carefully consider our position on the saddle. It's just sit down and go up. On the flatter trails, yeah, a 26.3 kilos bike with a long wheelbase, 29er wheels. It's, again, no surprise, this isn't a nimble, fun, quick handling bike on the flatter trails. I mean, any bike will handle flat, mellow trails, but this is not one of those bikes that are really fun and inspiring at sort of low speed, tight turns. And that can be a good thing on the descents. Going down gnarly, high speed, straight line descents, this bike is really stable and really confidence inspiring. And the fork is doing a great job. But when we get into sharp consecutive turns, having to throw the bike from side to side, you feel the weight, and the price to pay for this stability is a slower handling bike. You have to really use some effort to get the bike to shift the weight and do the left-right turns. That might be a good or a bad thing to you, depending on your riding style. It doesn't make this bike bad, but it depends on what kind of trails you ride and your riding style. This can be a great bike, and especially if, like me, you live in a market where the price is very competitive. I mean, this is one of the cheaper bikes on the market around here with stellar specs.